You're listening to the Hockey Podcast Network. New shows every day. Find us at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Everyone's favorite time of year is right around the corner. College football season. To celebrate, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook, I may add, is putting new players in the center of the action with $200 in free bets instantly if you bet $1 or more on any college football game. Take advantage of this now. Limited time offer. You heard right. DraftKings is giving all new players $200 in free bets instantly when you place a bet of $1 or more on any college football game, no matter what. Head to DraftKings Sportsbook app now to check out all of the great promotions and daily odd boosts that they are offering. DraftKings Sportsbook is safe, secure, and reliable, located right here in the United States, so it's easy to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any college football game. That's promo code THPN to get your free $200 in free bets instantly for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Everybody, welcome to episode 71 of season 2 of Red Wings Rant. Wow, I really screwed that up. I got to get used to our new theme song and video that y'all have been clamoring for until we get a bunch of mentions that everybody wants the old one back.
That's going to be me. I'm going to be adding you.
Today we're going to discuss the Jakub Vrana signing, an update from the Elias Pettersson offer sheet world, and I guess really that's it. This is the fun way to do these episodes, because we got all that darn business out of the way already, and we could just jump right in and start yapping. And
it's the dog days of the off season, man. Sit around and wait to hear what happens when a GM and a player go in a quiet room, and we don't know what comes out except for a little bit of money. Am I right? Matt, I feel like hey, Brennan. Is it Brennis?
Brennis.
Yeah, that's how I pronounce it. How you doing, Brennis? Matt, I feel like we won again. Vrana getting 15 over 3 years, $5 million. I feel like this is kind of even a little bit lower. I feel like he could have maybe pushed for 6 or 7, and I feel like if we did the 1-year arbitration, he might have done a prove-it deal, performed really well. We would have had to pay him a lot of money. Instead, we went for we'll call it, relatively speaking, long-term deal, right? Because we're not giving him that opportunity. Instead, we're going to give him a reasonable $5 million for 3 years. As a Red Wing fan, I think you got to be ecstatic. As the GM, I think you have to be ecstatic looking at that cap sheet. And as an Illich, I think you're also ecstatic that you're not burning up all your money on a couple players, and you still got room to, who knows, Matt, drop a 1-year, $16 million offer on a certain Pettersson from Vancouver. Matt, how you feeling?
Well, I know, we're dancing right now because of that contract, and I even pulled up. This is hilarious. I just realized I pulled up the wrong table that I made earlier today, but it was basically sorting the league in points per 60 over the last 3 seasons. And our good boy, Jakub Vrana, is number 22. But what I filtered out later was anybody who had less than 1,000 minutes of ice time, which would at least put, everybody under a portion of a season. And that actually put Vrana at the 15th slot. So here's the representation with nothing filtered out. still quite impressive considering how many NHLers we have out there, and ranked 22. I mean, this is only the first one. This is the first tease, because the second graph is way more fun, because it's actually our goals per 60. And you could probably put out some guesses as to who would be at the top of that. Of course, I mean, I guess I could just spoil it, or I could just pull it up. But number one is Austin Matthews.
Wow.
And this, of course, is the last 3 seasons. And our good boy, Jakub Vrana, you can see it on the table here. This is all coming from Evolving Hockey. This is 18 to 21. The 1.51 goals per 60. We're not talking about expected goals, Mike. We're not talking about, our Corsi here. We're talking about, out of all the entire league in the NHL, the last 3 seasons, where is Jakub Vrana ranked? There you go. And again, if anybody has some differing opinions or facts, this comes straight from Evolving Hockey. Oh, Mike, guess what? There's our dad. He loves us.
Hey.
We're the best podcasters out there. See?
Aw.
See, everybody? That's where all our views come from. Our loving
We didn't even have to pay him for that. That's pretty nice. Yeah.
Oh, I paid.
I didn't pay him. Oh.
Fethdar also here. What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
But yeah, here's the thing. We're more or less just going, oh boy, look what we get to play with.
Man, I think we're cooking the books a little bit, right? Because Vrana doesn't have that many goals because he hasn't quite.
Aww, look at Brennan. Thanks, Brennan.
Brennan, you're not our dad's burner account, are you? It still counts, even if you are.
Yeah, it still counts.
I mean, we're cooking the books a little bit, right? Because Vrana hasn't quite earned that ice time to get that kind of number. But
that's why that's why we're playing the points per 60 game, right? So
did you steal the spreadsheet from God? Let me tell you, it wasn't from Vrana's agent, because I would have pushed this to Steve Eiserman and said, see, maybe 6, maybe 7. Maybe
right.
1.
And that's the crazy thing, is we just got this guy that's produced so well. And think about, I mean, I guess if you're playing second or third line minutes, sure, the first argument you make is he might not be playing up to the top level of defensive competition on the other team, because that would go to the first line. Right. But the talent around him has taken a step down, correct? I mean, we know Washington had a loaded enough team that they went and won a Stanley Cup. But I mean, this is, just look at the numbers. We're Red Wings fans here, so of course, if I see this, I'm not going to talk myself out of this being a fun number to look at. But I also, I recognize the fact that, I just realized I don't have my lights on in my room right now.
It's scary in there.
Yeah. I do recognize the fact that, we can't necessarily expect everything to translate as his role changes, because then he will be facing tougher defensive matchups. What happens when the guy's ice time increases? You can't just say, well, he's getting more ice time, so this 1.51 goals per 60 is just going to make him the second most elite goal scorer in the league right now.
Right.
We know that's not going to happen.
I would say too.
Let me go turn the light on.
I think we're aware. There's a little bit of I'm going to use that phrase again. Book cooking going on, right? But when Jakub graced his way into our Red Wing fan, hearts and souls, eyeball test, we were kind of like, wow, I can't believe Washington just kind of got rid of this guy, because he looks pretty damn impressive to us. So if you want to have a little more ammunition than just an eyeball test, you can at least point to, a statistic that maybe, could be a touch misleading. But, I mean, he passed the eyeball test, and maybe he did just need a chance, and maybe he did just need a little more ice time, and maybe he did just need to grow up and turn 25, 26, 27, like he's going to be doing for us. So, yeah.
Mike, why would the Capitals give us a couple of draft picks and a Jakub Vrana, who's younger, trending in a better direction than Anthony Mantha, for an Anthony Mantha?
You'd have to ask them why they were comfortable doing that. I don't know.
I was so excited that you started asking that question, and I was like, I have the perfect.
That is drop of a lifetime.
You'd have to ask them why they were comfortable doing that. I don't know.
Steve, with just he's a treasure trove of. We need to get the one where he's yelling at Ansar Khan.
If being a GM doesn't work out, he would be a fantastic telemarketer. Because I don't know what he says to these guys on the phone that makes them just buy everything he's selling, but it's working.
All right, the last one I put together here was just another illustration of, I guess, not only how good Jakub Vrana has done, but comparatively with contracts that have been issued over the last, this is actually taking like the last six or 7 years from Cap Friendly. So they're comparing age of the player, when this contract was signed, like at what point in the player's career is this contract signed, and where's their production level. And you can see our boy Jakub Vrana is the furthest to the right in regards to measuring points per 60. So anybody who's not watching us on YouTube, this is what you're missing out on. But he's sort of in this realm of like, you got to pay for it to get the production, because you've got Bjorkstrand, Buchnevich, Andrei Burakovsky over there to the right, even though Burakovsky comes at a much cheaper price. And to the far left, Mike, so we're talking the least amount of points per 60 and the second highest cap hit
AAV
out of all of these comparable players, according to Cap Friendly, is Anthony Mantha. So it's another. I mean, I could play this all day.
You'd have to ask them why they were comfortable doing that. I don't know.
But it feels really good right now. It's a good contract. In the last little ditty, I did an 8-minute recording trying to figure out, did Vrana win this? Because we saw like the difference that the two sides were at. Elliot Friedman tweeted that the Red Wings were offering $3.65 million. And then Vrana was asking for 5.7, which is what Mantha's at. And you kind of go, well, maybe that was the connection they made. And that would not have been an overpayment in any way. I think you're right when you said the Vrana party probably should have been in the 6 range. They're taking a look at all these statistics. I think they could have gone into that arbitration and said, look at the goals per 60. Come on. What else do we have to say? And it's not even like just this element of, if somebody wanted to clap back and throw out the defensive, at least analytically, the defensive lapses that Vrana has in his game, or the deficiencies, I should say. Here's the thing. Like, goals are the thing that sells jerseys. All right. Goals gets you on SportsCenter. Goals makes you famous, makes your team popular. Not defense. So if anything, there's more value in Jakub Vrana. And I think this is true. I think most people who are following the NHL as often as we do would already agree. When you look around the league and look at contracts, those two-way players just don't make as much money as your super duper stars. So that, I don't know what the arbiter? The Arbiter, isn't that a ship in a video game? I don't know what the Arbiter would have thought of that comment, unless they really are realistic with it and they're like, well, maybe everybody else is just getting overpaid. So who knows where they would have gone with that? But that at least
actually was Arbitrator. An Arbiter is actually a character in the video game Halo. So we were close.
Oh, I said it was a video game ship. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I just throw in one more? I know we like, tugging Eiserman, and for good reason. But I really like the way he's kind of restructured cap sheets for NHL teams, because I think you can go to NHL.com, a day or two into unrestricted free agency, look at the deals that are signed, and you see a lot of monster 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year commitments. And somehow Steve keeps getting these guys on 1 year, 2 year, and now Vrana on a 3-year deal. And it's going to include his prime seasons. I would love to see the NHL get to the point where it does, something a little bit more like the NBA, where, you're not doing, like baseball still has those 10-year deals. We're in Detroit, we're about to say, the goodbye to Cabrera and his monster mortgage. I don't really want it to be the NFL either, where it's cutthroat, and if you're one injury away from being unemployed. I do want a little protection for the player. But yeah, I like to think that Eiserman is again just Kane style, paving the road for everybody else, where it's just a smarter way to invest in everybody. You can still prove it. Maybe you're Vrana and you're making $5 million for a couple of years, and you want to get to a point where you can start earning some more, and instead of being stuck at a salary that you maybe negotiated, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Now he's going to have another, opportunity to negotiate. And he's 27, 28. So it just seems like an attractive idea to both parties. As a player, if you were injury prone, I could see you, wanting to have a little more security. But outside of those instances, like as somebody who, would want to, potentially get more money, earn more money, show your worth, I think Eiserman's doing something really cool, and I hope it continues. I hope other people start doing that, and it just becomes the norm for NHL team building, man.
Well, we've got Steve on the line right now, and with all the success he's had in these last couple of years of building this success, a very flexible cap and roster situation, I was just wondering what he thinks, why the NHL isn't following suit. Why aren't the rest of the GMs pulling an Eiser plan? Steve,
You'd have to ask them why they were comfortable doing that. I don't know.
it's, again, Steve, one track here. The only thing on his mind right now. Sorry. While you were summing up everything that Steve is doing so far and what a great job he's doing,
Yeah.
we have Todd, the Super Ginger.
Hey, Super Ginger.
What up, guys?
Like that.
Always been a Wings fan. Been to Hockey Town a handful of times. Just recently started getting into hardcore. I hope. Are we still talking about hockey? What do you guys think are realistic expectations for this year? I will say, if you go back one episode, we took a look at the Jay Fresh War roster builder model. And I gave a lot of credit to that. Mike missed that episode, so Mike might feel lost right now as I'm talking about it and saying in our last episode.
I don't know where I am. I don't know where I'm going.
So here's what I said: is you take the War roster builder and the margins for like a replaceable player, which War is that how many wins you get above a replacement player. So those positive players are getting you more wins. You're the Red Wings we've seen over the last couple of years are losing you wins, but it's still a very close margin. So what he built out for us was a 78-point model. And with that 78-point model, we saw, the likes of Giovanni Smith, Joe Veleno have no score. We could see Lucas Raymond, Moritz Seider's on there, no score. Those are guys that could definitely add to this team. So that 78 points is based off of performances over the last 3 years and, a bunch of different weighted averages for different things you could do, including just getting the puck into the zone kind of thing and getting shots on net. Like it's could be as simple as that to give you a better WAR. And what I said based on all those guys not having a score is that best case scenario puts us in, you could look at plus or minus 5 points looking at that WAR model, I think is a reasonable thing to do. And, right there, that's 83 points. I also talked about in the last episode that the lowest point total to get a team into the playoffs was 90. And I think that wasn't even in a completed season. Now that I'm going back and thinking about those stats, I was rattling off the top of my head. 83 doesn't get us there, but of course that's an improvement. And I think it at least lends to the idea that we're going to have a lot more fun this year, more competitive games. We're just probably going to lose out. It just hurts because we've got that top line is one of the best in the league WAR wise. If we do the Dylan Larkin, Bertuzzi and Vrana setup, WAR wise, it actually is up there in the top half of the league. So they're going to keep us competitive, but it's the bottom 9 that we just aren't sure of. And where I make the comment that we could go up from that point projection because we don't have those players properly measured. I said plus or minus 5. Mike, they could send us screaming down too. These are guys without a lot of experience, so it's safe to say that they could get tired throughout the season. Like they might not have, they just might not be ready to make that transition yet, which is fine because a lot of these guys that we're talking about, they just don't have the time in there. But I guess that's where I say 78 points, I think, is pretty realistic, and that plus or minus 5 is going to lend for Moritz Seider playing his nuts off and some injuries as well. So plus or minus 5, we could take that dip, we could go up. That's where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah. I expect to see a bottom third of the league team in the lottery, but it's a significant upgrade from the season before because it's going to be a much more watchable product. You're going to get to see Mo Seider debut and probably play pretty well based on the projections. Bernier, on this show, we're huge fans of his, and somehow.
Oh, go ahead.
Hold on. And somehow our MVP is gone.
Oh,
and it looks like we statistically found an upgrade in Nedeljkovic.
So sorry. I'm such an asshole. I was just like, oh, Bernier's not on the team, and right in the middle of your point. I'm so sorry.
That's all right, asshole. Anyway,
such an asshole.
You're also going to see, a team that's not going to be leaning on, the Glendennings and the Helms in the bottom 9, right? We're going to be rolling the dice on young guys. So I don't think you should expect a lot of wins, and I think that's okay. We've had a lot of our guests come on, Ken Calls, the McCartys, come on and just say you got to be patient, and we're going to have to be patient this year. It's going to be a lot of. We're still waiting to get a top line center. We're still waiting on Pettersson to accept our 1-year, $16 million offer, but it's going to be the team that you have probably tweeted about. It's going to be the team that you probably social media about in some capacity, right? We were like, why aren't they playing the kids? Well, now the kids are a little bit older and to the point where they can, be on a third or fourth line, right? They're not so young that they're, if they get called up, their confidence is just going to go in the trash because, they're not in an environment that's going to, help them, expand their skills, right? They're going to be on their heels, on eggshells, and now we're getting to the point where we can kind of throw them in the fire, but it's a manageable fire. So I think it's going to be a really watchable product, even if they don't win. It's going to be competitive. You're going to get to see those young kids you keep reading about and hearing about. Tristan, how are you, bud? But instead of just hearing about how well these kids are playing overseas, I think you're finally going to get to see some games of them in the NHL going against NHL talent, and it's going to be a fun season, even if it doesn't translate to a lot of victories.
We had a very interesting episode of Woodward. What's the Woodward show called that the Red Wings and the Tigers? It's like a joint YouTube show. Anyway, the Word on Woodward. Jeff had a fun comment that I totally forgot I wanted to throw in the show, but we can save it. But Jeff totally threw Steve under the bus and painted this picture of, hey, I like the look. I like the look of all these kids. I think they look great. I think they could fit on the team. But if I tell Steve I want to play them 8 minutes because I want to see what they look like before I give him a full go, he's going to say no, and he's not going to bring them over. And I was just like, oh, fuck. Jeff coming out trying to save his job. Throwing Steve under the bus going, hey, I wanted to play only kids. But Steve said, I got to follow Steve. So if you guys want to be mad at Steve. And very, very interesting little ditty there that Jeff.
I don't know if that saved his job, but I think it did save face for him publicly.
Right. Yeah, that definitely fucked him over for his job.
Well, we got a few other nuggets here.
We could run through these pretty quick because Steve has 2 jobs left, Mike. He's got the Hirona contract to finish up and Adam Ernie.
He's got 3 jobs.
Right. We'll get into the third job in a second. So, Hronek projected to go between 3.5 and 4 million, and Adam Ernie projected to go 1.5 to 1.8 million. So pretty razor thin margin that's really going to hurt us anyway it goes. Now let's just say we go, the 4 and the 1.8. Mike, that's going to leave us with 15 million left on the cap for our next segment of the show. We're kicking up the production value. Mike,
yeah, let's see it.
Pettersson offer sheet watch. All right, this is
like like when the levees broke, like breaking news. You know what I mean?
That is exactly what I looked up. Breaking news song. So Mike, we have I don't know, not breaking anymore, but we have an update at least from Mr. Pettersson. Was in an interview earlier today, and right, and was discussing the at least the negotiations with the Canucks. So I'll just jump in here for anybody who hasn't seen it. On how the negotiations are going. Here's Elias. My agents do all the talking with the Canucks, and then they inform me about what's going on. Right now, we're not in agreement, but I'm not worried that we're going to solve. I'm not worried we're going to solve it eventually. Both parties need to be happy in order to find a solution. I'm not worried about that. On what kind of deal he'd prefer? I want to stay there. Now, I'm emphasizing it like that. But I also want to play for a team that's winning and has the chance to go far in the playoffs every year. I feel like we've got a chance to do that next year. If we have that chance when my next deal expires, I don't know. I just want to play where there's a chance of winning. So, Mike, there's a few different ways to interpret this. First way...
when you say winning...
Yeah.
Can we be flexible on that part? How about... What if the key to our wins is you being on the team? How do you feel about that?
It is winning or will be winning? Is that...
Yeah, we're going to do it soon.
Here's North Motos here. Elias to Detroit, because why not? What, Mike? You missed it in the last episode when I was playing with the War Roster Builder.
Yeah.
When you put Pettersson on that first line, there are only 2 other lines in the NHL who rank higher in a wins above replacement stat than what Vrana, Pettersson, and Bertuzzi would net us, and that is the perfection line from Boston. And then Nylander, Matthews, and Marner from Toronto. So why not? There's definitely the why is there because it would make. I mean, we'd have the third best first line in the league. And I mean, come on, who doesn't want that, right?
I think he was getting at the idea that it was far fetched, but the Red Wings have the cap space. And Red Wings have Red Wing draft picks, which, as we know, the past couple of seasons are deep in the lottery with really good odds. And in our defense, we know that the ping pong balls are not our friend. So I think at some point, Steve, just fuck it. Just put them in. Just get rid of them. What did we say it was? Was it 2 firsts, a second, and a third for what we'd have to offer?
I mean, so we're in the range of dealing the 15 million. So we're probably talking 4 firsts.
Okay, that's pie in the sky. Hopefully, we don't have to go that far.
But if we were doing our more reasonable offer, which I will say, I'll give the Vancouver Canucks fans credit. They came at our YouTube video hard and let us know that we were off by about 3 million, I guess. So where we were offering 10, they think that Vancouver has another 3 to play with. I did have to clap back a couple of times because we did include at least Ferland's contract that's not being counted right now. But we a bit. The idea is that there's guys on the team that'll be sent down to the minors. So these $850,000 contracts are really going to add up somehow and make a bunch of room for Pettersson, and then they won't need to fill those roster spots. They'll just skate like 9 guys, so it'll be fine. No, so I mean, we put Elias Pettersson in the title of this episode, so I'm certain that they'll be coming back to let us know how they feel about this quote. I see this, like I said, I see this going two ways. One is that he's not really happy with the Canucks. And two, if anything, there might be a shot at him in a few years because he might just settle for a bridge deal. This might just be a couple of years, get him to that unrestricted free agency, and then he'll really earn some dough. It's just got to be one of those things. If Steve came to play and dropped the big cash and he could say, you don't need that bridge deal. I got you. We believe in you in Detroit. Let's go get a playoff spot.
We went over it, I think a week ago, what it would take. With what we'd have to offer, it'd probably be what?
I got to go
seven.
back.
Is that 8 figures? 10 million?
Yeah.
And then that gets you, for Vancouver, they'd be getting 2 Red Wing first-round picks, a second-round pick, and a third-round pick. It almost seems nuts not to put that offer down because if some of these kids are ready to pop like we think they are, woo-wee, there's not a lot of opportunities to get a Pettersson. And if that's, Matt, I'm going to go ahead and say it. If that's all it would take, I think it'd be nuts to not put an offer in.
Yeah, I'm trying to find what exactly that was because I don't want to send anybody off in the wrong direction for what those what you had to give back. I just God, yeah, it was like 2 firsts, a second, and a third, so it was still 4 draft picks. But
yeah, I think if you go down beneath like it's like the 8 million threshold, something like that. I think then you just do first, second, and third. But I can't imagine that's super feasible. And if this dude is going to uproot his life and come to Detroit and know that we're going to probably have to figure things out for at least a season, and we know he wants to win, we got to sweeten that honey pot a little bit, and probably get it up to 10 mil. So,
yeah, this was it. The 10 million was 2 first-round picks, a second, and a third, and that was where we were saying we're outside of the range that Vancouver probably wants to pay Pettersson, but we're also not giving up 4 first-round picks because you right. Figure give this a shot, right? This is what I had to keep telling all of our Vancouver fans that now subscribe to us. Give this a shot. Throw this deal out there. If Vancouver doesn't bite or they match, I should say, no harm, no foul. We tried to spend our cash. Boom. It didn't work. We still get to play our draft pick game. But this is the one where, even if it failed at 10 million, it's 2 years of first round picks, which isn't fun to think about. But think about like trade deadline maneuvers and the guys that move for first round picks now. You give up a first round pick for some not so great talent. And, at this point too, if you're slotting in Elias Pettersson, even though the WAR model only showed us up to 87 points, in regards to, what our point total would be projected to, that's where we get to play that game of like, well, what if Seider's really good, and then we got 2 more points, and then, Raymond comes and plays, and we got 2 more points, and he's really good. So, we jump in there real quick and start to make things real interesting.
Yeah,
but,
those 2 Red Wing first-round picks, what you're hoping is to find a Pettersson. You're hoping, right? You're hoping that you win the ping pong battle and get at the top to draft somebody, that shiny and excellent looking. So instead of hoping and praying that these ping pong balls go your way and that a prospect maybe pans out, you have a guaranteed guy right there. And I don't think 2 firsts, and then we know the success rate of second and third round picks. Anything past the first round is, talk about gambling. You're really playing craps there. So, those picks are not, I think we're overvaluing them. If you could get them for a guaranteed piece like Pettersson, in a position that we desperately need, which would be a top-line center. And my God, Larkin could be your second-line center. Just say that a few times and try not to salivate. Like how incredible that would be.
Yeah, and playing around with that too, taking out the variables of some of our guys don't have anything to measure their career on or what their WAR projections would be. You missed this, but we ended up coming out with, that third best first line in the league, and then a top 10 second line. Can you imagine that? That's some Tampa Bay shit right there. I guess Tampa Bay kind of runs 2 first lines, so we're still talking about measuring the second line against other second lines. But that's one of those things too, where if you want to make the argument, we have to wait more to collect more guys. Eventually we're going to have the Zadinas are going to be in this realm of like where Pettersson's at right now. And you got to make, you got to make that decision. Are you going to push out the build a little bit more because it turns out these guys didn't work out and we didn't, go for the guy that we can kind of skip development and maybe we are wrapping everything into cider, kind of thing. What
if Zadina is a really, really, really good third line player, but instead we are forced to play him on the first line on a lot of nights. So I just the Pettersson move would really be like a real trickle down mega move, like for other guys to kind of get third and fourth line and really excel. You talk so much about matchups, Matt. Can you imagine Zadina as your third liner? My God, what if we had enough depth for him to be a fourth liner? Jeez, oh Pete. That'd be a pretty incredible team. You'd I know our new ginger friend was asking about the projection. Woohoo! That's a lot of points coming in, Matt. That'd be pretty exciting prospect to talk about.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. Here's North Moto. If we really have a shot at Elias, you deal with everything else later. I like that comment because it really pulls everything in where we said all last season we had the easiest job of any podcasting team on the Hockey Podcast Network because ultimately we knew we were going to lose a lot. And all the moves we were making were just about making cap room, having flexibility with the roster. And we really don't have anything to stress about as Red Wings fans. We haven't had anything to stress. We knew we were going to lose. So what are we stressing about? Like every now and then we'd have a game where it's like, oh, cool, this would be a fun game to win. And then we blow it in the third period, and that sucks. But you get over that after one sleep. If we pick up Elias Pettersson, Mike, we've got stress up the yin-yang. We have stuff to talk about on these podcasts where it's like, what the fuck were we thinking? Or we say, wow, what a fucking genius move. And right now, we're just kind of, we're punting year after year.
You know what? This is the second time I'm going to have to bring up the National Basketball Association in this podcast, and I apologize. But we talked about Eiserman borrowing contract negotiation and setups from what they do in the NBA. If he makes this Pettersson move, that's another NBA move where you just say, there's a mega superstar available. We'll take him and we'll figure out the rest. Does that mean I have to get, some minimum guys, to flesh out the fourth line or, cross my fingers on some kids, but I have a superstar on the first line? Do it. And you know what? Teams like that get a lot of flack. And then those teams like, Brooklyn Nets or Lakers, just acquire all these superstars, and there they are playing for titles. So
I think
you figure out the rest later.
We'll move on. I have a surprise segment because our boy Tristan always coming in with real late. I was ready to wrap up, but I got to do right by Tristan because he's always here on our live shows.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to talk about Mitchell Stevens because that was actually a point of conversation in that same show with Jeff Blashill. And this is another one where we kind of pat ourselves on the back or pat Eiserman on the back. I guess we don't get any credit for it. But this move to pick up Mitchell Stevens seems to be like there's a lot more thought into this than as Tristan's saying too than I had originally given any credit to is making that match for the loss of Luke Glendening. But what was also brought up in the show was that this is a guy who made a fourth line spot on the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? So this is a guy who, I guess, making that relation back to, all right, you look at those first two lines for Tampa, just a couple of, that second line could easily play on the first line and they'd be okay. So you talk about how loaded they are forward wise the last season. And this is a cat who they said, yep, this guy needs to be out there as we go for another Stanley Cup, as we try and earn enough points to get into a playoff position while Kucherov is out. And of course, that was a lot easier said than done. I really, first of all, Tristan, thank you for bringing this up, because I thought that was a really interesting point in the Word on Woodward show today. And I think, as we continue, actually, North Bodo's really excited about it too. That's something I think we'll at least be looking at once we're like a month into the season going, man, this guy's really reliable. This guy's really he's cutting his teeth. This is something that I think when it happened, I kind of just said, okay, we're filling out a roster. We lost Luke. I guess we got to put somebody in there and give somebody a shot. And Jeff even brought up like Chase Pearson getting into that slot. And he said, Chase wants to get in here. He's the young guy. He's got to earn it. We have guys now, and he was talking about Mitchell, that have already earned a spot elsewhere. So as far as I'm concerned with that comment, Mitchell has the spot and Chase has to play his nuts off to get it. And I think that's not necessarily a slight to Chase. That's more or less just, this was a more important pickup than I gave it any credit to.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him. I don't have a lot of tape on him. I know he kind of had a lower body injury, which usually means groin in hockey. It's usually related to, a groin pull or tear. And, he's definitely going to get opportunities playing with us on that fourth line. And we absolutely could use his speed. Especially, we talk tongue in cheek and give Darren Helm a lot of grief. But that speed was an asset when he was at his best. So, if Stevens can kind of bring that and definitely have a lot more youth, compared to Darren and in 2021, I'm optimistic. I'm pumped to see this and see Mitchell. And I don't think the expectations are going to be very high for him. So that's usually a good spot for you to, kind of build the confidence and show your worth. So I'm pumped for that acquisition as well.
Well, yeah, he's not going to beat Luke Glendening in the faceoff dot, so nobody can touch those numbers. I do. It is kind of funny that the analytics community is really pushing away the value of a faceoff, and I'm not poo-pooing that comment. I'm actually just that seems to be the trend we're going in right now, and it's all about more of the things that Mitchell can do on the ice. So lose all your faceoffs, but get the puck out of the zone and enter the other zone and have some success in the neutral zone. It seems to be. How many times did we bring up Luke Glendening, and he was always leading the team in Corsi against? And we made the argument that he was starting in the defensive zone, but really, you got to limit that stuff. You got to get the puck out. You can have those excuses and you can try and win a faceoff, but that means immediately we would win a faceoff and turn the puck over. If we're going to analyze it off the top of our heads through statistics, that's basically what that means. If you're going to win the faceoff and immediately turn it over, you're going to have to hope that Mitchell's going to be on the ice too. And I'm more excited about this than I was yesterday. But with that, Mike, I think we're going to sail off into the sunset. We still managed to go 43 minutes, despite me saying this one's going to be a quickie. But everybody, thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely.
Hope you guys enjoyed. Kicked up the production value at Teensy Bit, and let us know what you thought about the new opening. A lot of people were complaining about the old one, so I know Mike and I really love the old one. We're gonna miss it, but this new one's shorter. It's got rock music. Woo, rock! Let us know. Let us know what you think. You guys have a good one.